I am almost 40, and here are 13 insights I've acquired over that time. Number 1, a university diploma is useful, but a university education is kind of useless. A prestigious diploma opens many doors, but it doesn't automatically translate into competency. The problem with university education is that it is outdated and too slow to adapt. For example, when I completed my undergraduate study in the mid-2000s, the internet was just coming into its own. Yet the stuff I was being taught in school were concepts like just-in-time manufacturing and Lean Six Sigma. I've never used any of these concepts at work, and I doubt most of you will either. What I wish they had focused on instead were things like copywriting, marketing, and HR. There were no courses on how to build and manage a high-performing team, no courses on how to design incentive systems, and no courses on how to network or manage interpersonal relationships at work. I had one course on writing, but it focused too much on technical writing and PowerPoint presentations rather than how to write good copy. Knowing what I know now, copywriting should be taught to everybody from engineering to the humanities because it is such a useful skill. The truth is that I use about 10% of the stuff I learned at university, and the skills I mentioned before really contributed to a majority of my professional success, but I had to learn it on the job. So here is the key takeaway. If you are still in university, take courses on copywriting, marketing, team management, and anything associated with that, because these courses will perfectly complement any technical skills that you are learning. If these courses are not available at your institution, there are lots of other resources like Brilliant, which is not a sponsor, and you can also find tons of free stuff on YouTube. Number 2, therapy can wait if you have a good boss. A survey of 3,400 people across 10 countries by UKG found that managers impact our mental health far more than doctors and therapists. And I can personally attest to this finding. I have had good bosses and I've had bad ones throughout my career. The bad ones took a massive toll on my mental health. For example, expectations were either unclear or constantly changing. There wasn't much autonomy in the manner that I could carry out the work, and generally just a lack of support. This was also early in my career when I was a bit more green and inexperienced. And this is also the reason why I switched jobs sometimes. As the saying goes, people don't leave bad companies, they leave bad bosses. On the flip side though, I have also had amazing managers. They were approachable, easy to talk to, expectations were crystal clear. I felt heard and I was learning a ton from them. I actually looked forward to coming into work every single day. I think the hallmark of a good manager is that they understand that one of their key mandate is the success of the people under their purview. And being a good manager is hard work, maybe even more difficult than technical work. The key takeaway here is to look for good bosses when you are first starting out. I cannot overstate the importance of having a good boss. A good boss can literally make it or break it for you. I would go so far as to say that a good boss is way more important than the brand or reputation of a company. Number 3, life is not fair, but don't get hung up on that. Whatever you do in life, it seems like some people seem to have an unfair advantage. Maybe they're born with some innate mental or physical abilities that just propel them forward, or maybe they come from a wealthy background. Some people are just plain good looking, and studies have shown that good looking people do have a leg up in life. They get better treatment, get promoted faster, and on average seem to make more money. But this unfair advantage doesn't automatically equate to long-term success. For example, I don't have any of the attributes that I just mentioned before. I'm an average person with average IQ and average intelligence, I think. But it forced me to develop other skills to compensate. I had a knack for communication and team management, so I doubled down on both of those attributes. And as I rose through the ranks and kept getting promoted, I developed a reputation for being an effective communicator in meetings and for developing high-performing teams. I became so good that the company management couldn't ignore me. And pro tip, in small to medium-sized companies, incompetence is difficult to hide. So influence and good looks can only take you so far. The key takeaway here is to lean into your core strengths and double down on them. Number 4, people don't want to succeed. They just want others to be below them. Let me know if you've encountered this situation. Your neighbor decides to buy a luxury car, and suddenly you feel the urge to upgrade your car as well. Most of us live comparing ourselves to others. We compare because of societal expectations. Maybe it's the caveman DNA in all of us, but we seem to have this innate desire to move up the social hierarchy to avoid being ostracized. There is inherently nothing wrong with this approach, but I think it's the easy way out. It's easier to stay a step or two ahead of your peers rather than charting your own path. And this brings me to my hot take. People don't want to succeed. They just want others to be below them. Well, then what is the alternative? The alternative is to ignore societal expectations and set markers of success independent of anyone else. As you achieve these goals, you get the satisfaction and happiness that is independent of anyone else. And no one can take this away from you. That is the beauty of setting goals that are independent of other people. But this is difficult to do because you are going against the grain and risk being ridiculed or ostracized by society. But almost anyone truly successful charted their own path. I mean, look at Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg or just about anybody else who is truly successful. You are a failure until you succeed, and then suddenly you're a genius. So the takeaway here is to create objective and independent markers of success. For example, it could be a modest house that is paid off early versus a mansion that keeps you tied to a 30-year mortgage. It could be a reliable car that gets you from point A to point B rather than a luxury car with a $1,000 monthly payment for 6 years or more. Or it could be a job at a decent company with a good boss versus a job at a prestigious company with a toxic work culture. Number 5, lift heavy objects to become smart. Lifting heavy objects elevates levels of anabolic hormones like testosterone and an insulin-like growth factor called IGF-1. This hormone is related to the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is a neurotransmitter responsible for stimulating the growth of new neural pathways in the brain and enhancing communication between existing pathways. In short, lifting heavy objects could make you smarter. Number 6, become good at mental arithmetic. In 99% of life situations, the most complicated math that you will ever do is multiply two numbers. So become good at mental math. For example, you shouldn't need a calculator to do 24 times 12. Split the 12 into 10 and 2. 10 times 24 is 240. 2 times 24 is 48. 240 plus 48 is 288. The more you do it, the easier it gets, and it makes you look a little bit smarter. Number 7, it's never too late to start something new. I was 26 by the time my career in finance got started. I started this YouTube channel just before turning 38. I'm usually 5 years behind everyone else at starting something new. But you know what? It doesn't matter. If you start and fail, at least you tried, and you can live without regret. True failure is not having tried at all. Number 8, ask and you shall receive. If you don't ask, you don't get. It's that simple. Don't expect life to hand you stuff because you think you deserve it. If you want that raise, ask for it. There is a good chance that they will give it to you. Number 9, you can grow old without growth. How many of you have encountered a stubborn older person with outdated or downright negative views? Age doesn't automatically mean wisdom. Having a growth mindset is more important, and that trait is independent of age. Number 10, There is a statute of limitations on excuses or hiding behind past trauma. By using past trauma as an excuse for your current circumstance, you are giving your trauma power over your life. It doesn't help you move forward in life. If you are 50 and attribute your poor life choices to a bad childhood, I'm sorry, but it's just not going to cut it. Whatever issues you have, deal with it by getting professional help. Go to therapy. Prioritize getting better and overcoming these obstacles rather than using them as a crutch for the rest of your life. Number 11. Prioritize knowledge and skills above all else. Looks fade, reputation can be smeared, and your network can disappear just like that. We live in cancel culture. But no one can take your knowledge and skills. So when in doubt, focus on those two. Number 12. Memorization is useless. In the real world, you have all of the resources in front of you. You might even have the end results achieved by someone else. The homework has literally been done for you. You just need to copy it in an ethical manner, which is just fancy way of saying do the same thing, just a little bit different. Number 13. Different stages of life need different skills. The skills needed to go from 0 to 60 are different from the skills needed to go from 60 to 100. And the skills to go beyond 100 are again entirely different. 0 to 60 is all about the torque. 60 to 100 is all about horsepower. 100 and beyond is about aerodynamics. If you are shaped like a brick, no amount of horsepower and torque can make you faster and push you further. You need to change who you are and change the way you think. Systems, processes, and scalability are the key drivers to go beyond 100. If you found these insights useful, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.